What did you learn from that experience?
I learned I learned so much teaching and living there. First of all, I learned they're the best students I ever taught in my life. I taught for 37 years in Westchester, and these students, you know, there's three kinds of motivation. There's reward.
Yeah.
A lot of people pay their kids to get good grades. There's penalty if you don't do this, and there's self-motivation. And that's the best, self-motivation.
Right.
The kids I taught were self-motivated because if they didn't pass these tests, A level or O level, advanced or ordinary level, to go on to the university, then they were facing being rice farmers for the rest of their lives, which was back-breaking work, to plant and harvest rice in that African heat. So they were motivated to study, and they did. No electricity. They had cassette recorders, battery operated. At night, when VOA, Voice of America, or Armed Service Radio would come on the shortwave radio, they would tape the Shakespearean plays on their little cassette recorders, and they would play them over and over and over. They memorized 5-act Shakespearean plays. They had it cold memorized because these tests they took were so difficult. Like there would be a quote from a Shakespearean play, like "Speak, hands for me." Casca said that right before.
In Freetown might be related to the
I'm sure, yeah.
people who were on the ship that was captured.
Yeah, some of the first liberated slaves were sent to Freetown. That's
Yeah.
why how they got the name
Oh,
of Freetown.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure you know that Amazing Grace
Oh, yeah.
hymn
Well,
was written in Freetown. No,
do you?
I went there to buy book. I started a library in my village, and I went to Freetown to buy books for the library. But we were trained in Freetown before they sent us out to the village, and that's where we received a lot of our training.
Let me tell you a story.
Yeah.
This happened.
Have you been there?
No, I've never been there. But there was.
By a former slave master.
Yes.
Yeah. Commander of a slave ship.
Yeah. Who? King Bell's. Is there a King Bell's town? King Bell?
In Sierra Leone?
Yeah.
Not that I'm aware of.
All right. Well.
Yeah.
That's all right.
I don't know Freetown that well. I mean, I stayed there. There's a famous hotel called the City. Graham Greene, the famous author who wrote The Heart of the Matter. There's a lot of references to Africa. When I stayed at the City, they were proud of saying Graham Greene stayed here when he wrote that novel, because that's sort of their claim to fame.
Okay. All right. Okay.
So, yeah, I miss the people there because I mean they were poor, but they would bring us food. You know what I mean? And the lady who lived right adjacent to me, there was no planning to the village. They just built houses wherever. So she would when I sat on my veranda, you would stare like right into her front, and she was always cooking rice and pounding rice, and then she'd bring me over food anytime. They're so appreciative to have a volunteer. They were so nice, such nice people.
Are you in contact with any of the other volunteers like yourself who were?
Yes, Peace Corps. I'm friends with one of the volunteers. He was from Baltimore. As a matter of fact, he taught in another village in the northern province, and we got together and decided that in the summer when we weren't teaching, we wanted to go to Europe. So we got both of our parents to buy us a rail pass. And we took a charter flight from Freetown to London, and we had this rail pass. And then a girl I went to college with was in Frankfurt, Germany, so we made a beeline across the channel to her because it was a free place to stay. And then she knew some guy whose dad owned the Hotel Centrale in Riva del Garda, Italy, in the Italian Alps. So we went right down there, wherever we could stay for free.
Oh, sure.
So we're traveling all over the place on our Eurail pass, catching trains all over the place. We just made a complete circle all around Europe.
How long was that trip?
I think it was 2 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah. But we went to the south of France, and we went to Monaco and the Grand Casino, That's when, what's her name, Grace Kelly lived there.
Oh,
And I said, well, let's go say hello to Grace Kelly because, I'm from Philly and I was born in Philly. So we get out of this taxi and we had we had backpacks on. We looked like hell. So it took 5 minutes for the gendarmes to pull up on their motorcycles and said, where are you going? I said, we're going down to the Grand Casino. I said, listen, I hate to tell you, but you're very, very underdressed. You need a tuxedo to get into the Grand Casino. He said, you guys need to turn around and go back. So, we never got to the Grand Casino.
So you didn't get a chance to see Grace?
Didn't get a chance to
say
see
hello?
She probably wouldn't be at the casino anyway. Monaco, yeah. So, it was a great experience of my life, being in West Africa for 2 years and then traveling around Europe. I'll probably never get back there again,
Oh, I could.
A lot of us will never get to experience that at all, ever.
Uh-huh.
So you experienced it, and that is a story that you have to tell forever.
Yeah.
And
I have to tell you, I was at my sister's house once, and she was complaining about having to put the dishes away from the dishwasher. And I said, come on. I lived in Africa for 2 years. Let me tell you about Fatu. Fatu was the lady who lived across from me, who was, it was like a trunk of a tree that they had chopped off, and the middle was, with a knife they pounded it out, and she was there pounding rice. They'd harvest rice, and she'd get like a tree trunk and pound it to get the covering, the chaff away from the grain, and then she would scoop it up and put it in the calabash and whip it up like that, and the breeze would blow away the husks. And so she was always doing that, and then in back of her, she had water boiling, and as she was doing that, she had a baby strapped to her back, maybe 3 or 4 months old, with a country cloth, tied around. So she's pounding rice, Fatu, and then she was very, very pregnant, about to give birth in the front. So she's pounding rice, and I'm on my veranda just watching her, saying hello and practicing my Mendi on her. I didn't learn it that well, but anyway, she was always smiling. She was missing a couple teeth, and the women are all bare-breasted. Anyway, she's working really hard, and then her time came. She was about to give birth. So without missing, a beat, she got a sharpened stick, and right next to where she was pounding rice, she dug a hole, and then she told one of her other children to go inside the hut and get a country cloth, and she laid the country cloth, covering the hole. Her husband, who was asleep inside the hut, he was told to go to the river and get a bucket of water. So she straddled the hole and commenced to give birth over this hole. Only in Western culture do we make the women push horizontally, for the doctor's benefit. In the third world countries, they let gravity take its course. So she squatted over this hole, and the baby was born, and then with the knife she cut the umbilical cord, and then with the water she washed the baby down, and I swear to God, she took the newborn and put it on the front with another country cloth. She had one on the back, one on the front, and continued to pound rice.
wow.
So when my sister complained about putting the dishes away from the dishwasher, we had to remind her about Fatu. I said, there was a woman, my God.
A real woman.
My God. Yeah. You see women. Then our guy would grind up, like I said, we had no electricity. He would grind up the meat and could make spaghetti sauce, and he was really good. We were lucky to have him.
So what about spirituality and religion? I don't know if you heard.
Yeah, there was animism. They worshiped their ancestors, and of course the Christians who were there before me, they built this missionary school where I taught.
And you call the worship of the ancestors animism.
Yeah.
No.
Animism.
Oh, yeah. That's a form of religion.
Yeah, they would. I was in a Muslim village, and I talked about if you didn't pass the test, you were a rice farmer. The guy 2 houses down from me, the other get-rich-quick was finding a gemstone. I'm sure you heard about blood diamonds in Sierra Leone.
Oh, yeah.
He found a gemstone. This is before I even arrived in the village, and he had been to Mecca, so he was an al-Hajj, and therefore he had prestige in the village. Like if there was an argument, you would come to him.
Yeah.
And he stole my chicken. No, it was my chicken, blah, blah. He would hear both sides, and then he would rule.
He was a councilman.
Yes. And he would rule. And whatever he said went. And they would